This recipe is an homage to the Zuni cafe roast chicken. Here is the gist. The chicken is salted in advance and roasted at high heat. But there are two things that make this chicken fundamentally different from all the other best roast chickens. I only use the breast and cook it to an appalling 125 degrees, letting it rest to about 150. Contrary to what FDA might lead you to believe, you cannot get Salmonella just by watching a video. So you might just as well give me a chance. What I am doing is not dangerous and it is incredibly delicious. Okay, so safety first. The odds of Salmonella occurring inside a solid muscle are laughable. Salmonella occurs in chicken poop, and when chickens are mass-produced and butchered in a sloppy way, it can easily get all over the outside of the chicken. But the outside of this bird will reach the safe 160 and then some. We're putting it into a 475-degree oven. So, just like you can't get E. coli from a steak that is seared on the outside, even if the inside is still cold, you can't get Salmonella from a chicken that is cooked on the outside. We eat medium rare duck breast. We eat raw egg mayo and mousses. And we let our children lick the bowl with raw brownie batter. I mean, seriously, that brownie batter is an order of magnitude more dangerous than what we're doing here. And come to think of it, even raw eggs are safer than driving. So, if you're going to get into a car, you might just as well stop eating dry chicken breast. If you're still worried, you can read the full safety discussion on my blog linked below this video. So why are we only using the breast? You see, a whole chicken is like a beef tenderloin attached to a short rib. Unless you separate those two Siamese twins, you'll never get perfection. Yes, I've tried every trick known to man: spatchcocking, leapfrogging, roasting chicken upside down. They all help some, but not enough. A whole chicken breast is available at most supermarkets these days, so no butchery skills necessary. The ideal size for this dish is 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds. Okay, let's get to work. I have a whole chicken breast here with skin and bones. You need both to insulate it from the exceptionally high heat that we'll use. Yes, I've tried low-temperature chicken dishes, including sous vide, and while the texture is nice, they don't compare to this when it comes to flavor. Pull up the skin in the thick part and rip out every scrap of fat. This will help your skin crisp up. If you have more skin than necessary, trim it to fit the meat. Now let's remove the wishbone. Move up and down this upside-down V with your fingers and you'll feel it. Run all the way around it with a paring knife. See? There it is. Then cut behind it, and you'll be able to stick your finger under this pesky little bone. Get a grip and pull. Sometimes it comes out in one piece and sometimes it breaks. The reason we're removing it is to make carving the cooked chicken a lot easier. Now let's loosen the skin on the thin parts to help us access the meat. That's what we want to salt. Salting a day ahead, or at least 2 hours ahead, doesn't just make the chicken more flavorful, it also makes it juicier, just like brining. And this technique is most effective if the salt is applied directly to the meat, not just the skin. If you're cooking the chicken in 2 hours, you can leave it on the counter. Otherwise, put it in the fridge. If possible, keep it uncovered to help it start drying. Here is the chicken I salted yesterday. Before we cook it, we need to dry it very thoroughly. I can't emphasize this step enough. If you don't want your chicken to stick, dry it. Let's set a 10-inch stainless steel skillet over high heat with a little drizzle of oil. Since the heat will be very high, grapeseed, safflower, or canola oils work best. Swirl the oil to coat the bottom of the pan. Smooth out the chicken skin to make sure there are no wrinkles and place in the skillet skin side down. Most likely your pan will have a few empty spots. Those are bad. The oil will overheat and produce a scary amount of smoke, so let's fill them. Carrots cut into planks work well for this purpose. After you cook your chicken for 1 minute, transfer it to the middle of a preheated 475-degree oven and cook for 15 minutes. Then flip the chicken and the carrots. Yes, I know they look black, but they are not for eating, they're sacrificial carrots. You might need to add more of them to fill in the empty spots. Return the chicken to the oven for 7 minutes. Then start testing for doneness. Insert a thermometer into the thickest part of the breast. Try a few spots to make sure you found the minimum. When the minimum internal temperature is 125 degrees, get your chicken out of the pan. If you're not there yet, put the chicken back in the oven. Just realize that the temperature jumps very quickly in such a hot oven, so test every minute or two. When your chicken is resting, leave a thermometer in it, and you'll see the temperature climb up. In 10 to 15 minutes, it will get between 145 and 150. Don't carve until it starts to go back down. In my classes, this demo is immediately followed by a question. Does chicken always go up by 25 degrees during rest? The answer is no. How much residual cooking you'll get is determined by how high the heat is and how big the bulk of your food is. In our case, the heat is very high for 75 and the bulk is very big, so we get a huge hike in temperature. While our chicken is resting, we can put the brown bits in the pan to good use. Let's get rid of the burnt carrots and leftover fat. Get the pan back on the heat. Add a 1/4 cup of water and boil it, scraping up the brown bits. When you have a very thin layer of liquid left, take off heat. Add a squirt of lemon and minced herbs. Parsley, chive, cilantro are all good here. Swirl in a tablespoon of butter. Taste and correct for salt, and you're done. Of course, if you have some homemade chicken stock on hand, you can make a more substantial sauce. Our chicken's temperature is starting to go down, so we're ready to carve. Cut on one side of the breastbone and follow the ribs to take off the first breast. You can also help yourself by approaching it from the other side. The meat near the bone is the softest, juiciest chicken I've ever had. Now cut off the second breast. This chicken is not pink or translucent or rare looking in any way, just tender and juicy. For a pretty presentation, cut the breast at an angle and fan out. Drizzle with the sauce and dig in. I mixed some creme fraiche and Dijon mustard here for a little dip. What's so cool about this chicken is that it pleasantly surprises both the picky eaters, who only eat thoroughly cooked proteins, and foodie snobs who think chicken breast is so passé. As always, more info is on my blog linked below this video. For more safe ways to infuriate the FDA, don't forget to subscribe to Helen's Kitchen channel. And if you're ever in the Boston area, maybe I'll see you in one of my classes.